Volume 5 of X Men Second Genesis. The volume contains Giant Size X Men number 1, which we're going to talk about, X Men number 94 through 110, Iron Fist number 14 through 15, and Marvel Team Up number 53, 69, 70, and Annual number 1. I'll admit, when I picked this up for the reading list, I was surprised to see so much Team Up in there.
Yeah, and it's really nice that they have those in there, and as well as the Iron Fist issues. The Iron Fist ones are important because it's not just a crossover, but that's the first time we see John Byrne doing X-Men. So we are including it in our reading order.
Gotcha. And I mean, Chris Claremont, Iron Fist was one of the first things he was actually doing, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was still new to the game, and the fact that he was given the opportunity to do X-Men, and he described it a carte blanche X-Men. Like it was like you don't have to follow the original characters or anything. You can just do what you want to do, and it's like that's just pretty incredible.
Yeah, and so weird for us to think of now, but of course, X Men was a dead property at that time, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
this volume, this is a significant turning point for the X Men, and a new group of mutants join the team, again revitalizing that dead franchise, and also bringing an international flavor to the book. We see the young writer Chris Claremont rocket into comic stardom with a 16-year run on the book, and establishing a new baseline for what X Men comics really could be. And for many people, this is where X Men comics really begin. And I think it's safe to say that this is one of the few instances where I think the one of the writers or one of the creators can claim to have a bigger influence on a 60s book that was started by Stan and Jack than actually Stan Lee and Jack Kirby had. Like,
Mhm.
I think Daredevil and Frank Miller's maybe another example, but I can't think of anyone else where that's more of a case than with X-Men and Chris Claremont.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he took this concept and ramped it up, and just the fact that he was on it for so long meant that you know we have nearly 2 decades of Chris Claremont influence. Whereas, especially with Jack Kirby, he was off the book pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do very much in the very beginning. They kind of just laid the groundwork. We got that foundation, but here's where we really develop, even just the lore of X-Men is with Claremont.
Well, and reading through this, I mean, you see how much Hickman, even in the Krakoa era, took from here, right? So, you have Krakoa, right? The whole era named after something that, arrived in this issue. But you also, when you get into some of the later issues outside of Giant Size X-Men, there's, this Stephen Lang, sort of subplot where, the humans are developing sentinels and things of that nature. It feels like Orcus. Like I looked it up whether there was any sort of like straight line between the two, sort of invoking a lot of that stuff at the same time.
All right. I do want to share one thing before we get in. I had the good fortune to go to Heroes Con in Charlotte this past summer, and Chris Claremont was there. I must have stood in line for 2 hours to actually get him to sign this volume. Unfortunately, my camera's flipped, so it's going to look backwards. But 2 hours standing in line, get a nice little signature right there, right on the. Oops. Oh, there goes my camera being silly. Right there on the cover page. It was worth the wait, but he was incredibly nice, talking to a bunch of people. Asked as I got up there if I had any questions. At that point, I was like, I've been in line for 2 hours. I don't want to take time from anyone else waiting to go talk to him or see him. So
I'm going to go with an 8.5 for me. I think for me, is that what I said earlier? 8.5 or I say 8?
you said 8.5. I got it up there.
All right, good. Now I'm consistent with what I said 20 minutes ago. Yeah, I mean, look, I think this is really high up there, but I also think that there are some very strong X-Men books to follow, and I'm trying to differentiate things a little bit between, things like we're gonna, whether it's Proteus or the Fate of the Phoenix or God Loves Man Kills. I mean, there is like there's some really strong stuff that is coming down the pike. I think that this book has a lot of that strong stuff. One of my favorite issues in here is the Christmas issue. Cockman's final sort of hurrah for now with the Starjammers and all of that's really good. Obviously, the introduction of the X-Men, the new X-Men in giant size. But then there's, some of these team up issues, some of these fill-in issues are just kind of there. They don't really connect to the story or the plot, so to speak, all the time. So for me, I got a little bit from a volume perspective, got a little bit of a ding. What was your rating?
All right, we'll see if I can. Hey, there we go. All right, so I thought this was a fantastic volume. It brings incredible energy, it's overflowing with ideas, and it has an incredible visual style between the settings, the costumes, and the layouts. I find it hard to find fault with this volume. Yes, there's things I could nitpick about. The obvious filler issues, which bog things down a little bit. I question the inclusion of some of the team-up books, but having started the next volume, I also now kind of understand why at least some of those are in there. The last two, anyway. The first two, Team Up Annual and 53, those maybe they didn't need to be there. Honestly, I thought the rest of it was so good that I can easily overlook the flaws. Even if there are leaps in logic, like using mental powers on robots or squatting leprechauns, I just don't care because the rest is handled so well. Particularly with some great and clear characterization and beautiful artwork. I think we're starting to establish a pattern here, Stoger, that I rate things a little bit higher than you. So I'm going to 9.5 on this one. I thought this was amazing, fantastic, incredible. Maybe not yet uncanny because we have to wait until issue 114 for that. But still, this is one of the best epics I've yet read, and it's definitely a breath of fresh air after that turd of a Morbius volume that we read. And maybe that's kind of why I'm feeling so generous with my rating is I have the sour taste of Morbius still there.
Well, and for me, maybe this is the Leprechaun tax. I mean, you lose a point for me if you're gonna spend 2 issues with some leprechauns running around a castle. So,
yeah, but they didn't do anything. They were just there.
That's my point. Like, why did we need leprechauns? Just because we're in Ireland?
God, what we need now
Scotland? I don't think we're in Ireland. Is he Scottish?
Who? What? Banshee?
Is Banshee Irish or Scottish?
He's Irish.
Now.
He's Irish.
He's Irish.
Moira McTaggart is Scottish.
That's what was throwing me off. Yeah. Okay.
So I think what we need now is a team up of the leprechauns with a bowl of potato salad, and then we'll both have all of our bugaboos with this volume taken care of, right? Okay, so combining our ratings together, this is a 9.0 altogether. I feel comfortable with that. I hope you do as well, Stoger.
No, agree.